Guys, Scotty 2 Hockey here, aka the average hockey fan, and the dagger has officially been stuck in the heart of Habs Nation. Artemi Panarin eliminates the Montreal Canadiens in a shootout winner against the New York Rangers. The Columbus Blue Jackets beat the New York Rangers 3-2. I guarantee you every single Montreal player, every member of the management and coaching staff were watching this game as much as the fans, and it's such a letdown. New York did battle well. They did everything they could to beat the Columbus Blue Jackets, but clearly it comes down to Columbus is more built to be a playoff team. The Habs lost to a better team, and good luck to Columbus in round one. I am a heartbroken, depressed Habs fan. The way this season worked out, the Habs should have made the playoffs. If you had to tell me coming into the beginning of the season, Carey Price is going to completely turn it around, look like the all-star goalie he was in 2014, 2015. Max Domi was going to come into Montreal, have over 70 points, have a career high in every aspect. Brendan Gallagher was going to score 33 goals. Thomas Tatar was going to put up over 20 goals and 50-odd points. And Joel Armia was going to have 13 goals. Jeff Petrie was going to have a career high. Jordy Ben was going to have a career high. We were going to bring in a guy named Brett Kulak who's been red hot. We were going to have all these guys thriving in Montreal, and the team doesn't make the playoffs. Basically what it comes down to is Columbus recognized into the deadline how tight the race would be, and they came better built for it. Keeping Panarin was truly a good move because he's the one who got him into the playoffs. He stuck the dagger in the heart of Habs Nation tonight. He scored a shootout winner, a beautiful goal on Gorgiev, and clearly Columbus deserves to be in there. They went out and they addressed the issues they needed to address. Montreal needed to bring in a good defenseman. They didn't do it. They needed to bring in somebody to help the power play. They didn't do it. I'm not putting it on MB for this season, not making the playoffs. I am, but I'm not putting I'm not going to hate our Marc Bergevin. That's all I can say. I'm not going to hate our Marc Bergevin. He did a good job fixing his mistakes from last year. He did a good job stocking the cupboards with prospects. And next year definitely looks very bright. But as far as him saying he wants this team to get into the playoffs this year, he believes success is this team getting into the playoffs this year. Well, if you truly believe that with the pile of cap space you had at the deadline, why didn't you acquire a defenseman? Why didn't you use, I know you can't really use your cap space to go out and do pick up a free agent, but you can use it to bring in a big contract, trade away picks, trade away what you got to trade away to bring in a big contract. We have prospects. We have good things. I guess he wanted to keep his picks. He wanted to make his moves. He wanted to wheel and deal the way he did. He wanted to get fourth line depth guys. And don't get me wrong, Thompson and Wheel have both done a good job. But have they helped the weak defense on the second line? Petrie's great, don't get me wrong, but he hasn't had a consistent partner. Have they helped the power play? Not really that much, to be honest. Nate Thompson has been an excellent penalty killer, don't get me wrong. But as far as the problem areas this team had, it didn't get addressed. Jonathan Drouin regressed so much the last 30 games of the season. There are individual players you can say didn't thrive, that didn't work hard enough when the rest of the team worked. Drouin's the one who gets a lot of flack for it. He is going to get a lot of hate after the season. I expect to see a lot of trade Drouin rumors. I'm not saying trade him by no means myself. I'm saying give the guy another chance. Give him another year. If he plays like he did down the stretch this year, if he even starts off like that next year, then contemplate it before the deadline. Give the guy another chance. He's a young player, like you say. I believe he does bring a lot to the team. But as far as this year goes, there are a lot of upsides. Don't get me wrong, guys. Max Domi with his career high. I listed them all earlier. Carey Price turning it around. Montreal having a lot of good moments, winning a lot of big games, shutting down Tampa Bay at the end of the season like they did. But unfortunately, it was all for naught. They lost a couple of important games. They lost that very, very crucial Columbus game, and they lost the Washington game in the last game, which totally would have changed things. Even if Columbus had to win tonight, it all would have came down to the last season, but it all would have came down to the last game, but it completely changed anything. I'm sorry if this video is a bit rough. I just finished watching the game. My heart is broken as much as any Habs fan out there. I'm a die-hard Habs fan. And to see this year, Carolina, Columbus, all these other teams in there above Montreal is absolutely driving me crazy. Because I honestly, if you had to tell me at the beginning of the year, Carolina is a better team than Montreal, I would have laughed in your face. Because Carolina hasn't been a good team for decades. But they completely turned it around. Look how good their young guns are. They went out and got a good goalie in McElhaney from Toronto. And now Toronto's backup has completely gone. They brought up Hutchinson. So clearly Carolina made a good move there. But it all comes down to Columbus recognized what they needed at the deadline. They went out and got it. They went out, got Duchesne. They went out, got Dzingel. They went out and made the big moves. They kept Bobrovsky. They kept Panarin. And all Montreal did was get a couple of fourth liners. They didn't gear up like they should have for the playoffs. Really just one big move. Bring in a solid guy that's going to bolster your power play. The story of this season is not enough at the deadline. and death by power play. The abysmal power play killed them all year. A couple of extra power play goals would have made all the difference in the world. They could have been game-winning goals. They could have tied games late. They could have sent games in overtime, which got us extra points. There's so many reasons we can say why the Habs didn't get into the playoffs. Losing tight games to Tampa earlier in the season where they lost with 56 seconds left, something like that. Adam Ernie scored a game-winning goal. Losing to the Leafs in the last minute of the game where Zach Hyman scored a game-winning goal. There's lots of little things you can look back on and say that's how they lost the season. That's what cost them the season. Losing that Columbus game, getting smoked like they did against the Anaheim, like they did. Losing to New Jersey, which was pretty much an AHL game after the All-Star break. There's 100 different things you can look back on. But the thing we got to do is look forward. We got to look forward. Next year, I'm very, very excited about next year. Ryan Poehling should be with the team next year. Hopefully Nick Suzuki's with the team next year. Whether it's a center or not, we don't know. Hopefully KK progresses, because I feel the way they managed him down the end of the year may have stripped his confidence a little bit away. First they made him a healthy scratch, then they moved him to the wing, then they put him under fourth line. Now he's a fourth line winger who was supposed to be a third line center. It's kind of looking like a Galchenyuk trend. Let's hope it doesn't end up this way. Stick him on a second line center next year or third line center and keep him there. Let him keep building his confidence. He's young, he's strong, he's truly a good player. Don't manage him like that. I don't want to see that happening to our prospects. And hopefully guys like Josh Brooks will be up. I don't think Romanov will be up. I think it's going to be another year or two. But hopefully Josh Brooks will either be in AHL producing or he'll be up with the team next year. There's a lot of things to look forward to next year. And what do you guys think Marc Bergevin will do in the offseason? Do you think he will bring in a big name, or do you think he's just going to stick with the young guns he got? Get his picks and maybe bring in a couple guys that might help the defense, some depth players. What do you think you do? I think he needs to go out and he needs to sign a big D-man. Not a huge number one line D-man, but a consistent partner for Petrie. Because that's one thing I've noticed with our D-lines this year. It's pretty much been Ben and Kulak have been great partners, Mete and Weber have been great partners, and Petrie's just been with Riley, Folin. The list goes on of partners Petrie's had. They switched it up back and forth with Petrie all year, and Petrie has been absolutely great, has had a career year, has been stellar. Give that guy a great solid number two. Have 3 solid D-lines and do something to address the power play. I don't know what he's going to do. I'd like to hear some fan suggestions, some Montreal fan suggestions of what they think he should do. I'm not 100% sure who he's going to bring in to bolster the power play. I've even heard Habs fans say they want him to go after Panarin. Too big of a contract, too much term for me. That guy's looking for like 8 mil, 7 years. It's just too big of a contract, too big of a risk for a guy who's won nothing, hasn't even won a round in the playoffs. I wouldn't do it myself if I was MB, but I'm just an armchair GM. He's the manager. But what do you guys think you should do? And are you as heartbroken as me? Because I completely am. This isn't my overall video on my thoughts on the season. When the season ends, I'm going to give my overall thoughts on the season, what players I think are the MVPs. I'm going to talk about the prospects. I'm going to talk about other players that thrived in Montreal, and my overall thoughts on the season when the season ends. Of course, I'm going to watch the Leafs games. Yes, it's meaningless, which makes it even more heartbreaking, because it would have been good to see a game against Toronto at the end of the season that meant something, and to beat the Leafs and get in. How good would that have felt? But that's not the case, guys. Like I said, Artemi Panarin takes out that giant knife and just jabs it in the heart of Habs Nation, and it's truly heartbreaking. Columbus beats New York 3-2 in a shootout. Congratulations to the Columbus Blue Jackets. I hope you guys win around, because the GM did what he had to do at the deadline. He's not going to have this team next year, clearly. A lot of their team is UFAs. He's going for it. Props to him. He did what MB could have did, but decided not to do. Do you think it was a good decision? Do you think it was a bad decision? He was looking towards the future, and he didn't want to blow it. I completely understand, but he had so much cap space, and he had so many prospects and picks to work with. I just don't understand why he didn't help the defense or power play or anything. Death by power play. Death by lack of moves at the deadline. Brutal. Like, subscribe. Stay tuned for my review of the Toronto game, if you're even going to watch the Toronto game. And please stay tuned and ring that bell for my end of season review and all my videos on my prospects. Still lots of hockey content to come, guys. I'm not giving up on the hockey yet. There's still the playoffs to come, and there's still so many prospects to talk about, and so much productivity, and so many trade rumors are going to be blossoming in July, in June, right before July. I'm going to be talking about the draft. There's still so much hockey to talk about. The year has ended, but the hockey talk hasn't ended. Anyways, guys, like, subscribe, comment. I got to go over and get over this game. I don't know what I'm going to do. I've got to go have a beer or something. Go Habs, go, baby. I'll see y'all next year, too. It's going to be a great year for sure when it comes to next year. I really, really, truly believe my next year reviews and my next year recaps are going to be absolutely awesome because we're going to have a young team. We're going to have young players producing. I hope Ryan Poehling comes to Montreal, sticks in there at the third line center, and just absolutely dominates. Looks like the young prospect he is. Go Habs, go. Like, subscribe, comment. Sorry for the rough video, guys. It's a heartbreaking night in Habs Nation.